Bill Carroll of Zenny62 Media, and I'm taking a look at the AFC West by request from Hostin Carson Jr. Looking particularly this week this day, at the Chargers. The Chargers have essentially what some people call the golden triangle, right? The trifecta of what should work out for particularly great outcomes. They are a team that has a either elite or close to elite quarterback on his rookie contract. They have a very good defense and a very good offense. So they should be in a good situation, but they're also in the AFC West. In terms of dead money against the cap, they have Joe Reed and Brian Bulaga, who are a total of $3,661,300 against the cap, dead money. That means all the rest of the money that they have allocated currently, of the 60 players they have on contract at this moment, is alive, right? Alive money, money that is actually going to be able to do something for them this year. Most of that money, or a lot of that money, is tied up in Joey Bosa, and deservedly so. He has guaranteed salary of $21,250,000, and his cap hit would be $28,250,000, which is, for a player like him, is actually pretty reasonable. And then next is Keenan Allen, who is $16.5 million in guaranteed money, 19.2 against the cap. Then comes Mike Williams, who is $7 million in guarantees and 14 million against the cap. Then Corey Lindsey, who is $9 million in guarantees, and he's $9,375,000 against the cap. Those are all very workable numbers. Then comes Duran Dames, who is $9,052,000 against the cap and $9,052,000 in guaranteed money. None of those are bad numbers. And though they obviously got Khalil Mack, he's owed squadoosh, right? Zero in guaranteed money. He has a $200,000 workout bonus, and he's getting $8,750,000 in salary. Frankly, a bit of a bargain. And then next comes J.C. Jackson, who has a base salary of $3 million. Is getting a prorated bonus of $5 million. Zero in terms of other bonuses. He's got $3 million in guarantees and cap number of $8 million. So this is all their deals are either somewhere between fair market value and team friendly. So that's one thing that argues towards them being a team that should be able to make some noise in the upcoming season. And like I said, a lot of people expect, and I think somewhat logically expect this to be a team that wins double-digit games. I'm going to agree that this is a team that should also win double-digit games. Some other things that I think we should look at in terms of figuring out what this team could and should do. Well, once again, let's start at the beginning, the actual depth chart itself. So right now they've got Josh Palmer listed as the number one at, the Z, and then Jalen Guyton and Maurice French. Mike Williams is listed as the number one at the X. Jason Moore, and Michael Bandy, one of my favorite guys, a small school guy that I was a big fan of coming out, is behind him. Then obviously the slot is Keenan Allen with DeAndre Carter, another small school guy that I was a big fan of coming out, and then Joe Reed backing him up. It's likely that in this very deep receiver class, they're going to pursue another receiver. I wouldn't be surprised if Jamison Williams made it to them. I think he might land there. I think they might consider any of the Ohio State receivers that they landed there. Obviously, it would be sort of a perfect situation if they could, say, land a guy like Drake London, who is essentially Mike Williams, but better. And, they obviously have an elite left tackle in Rashawn Slayton. Trey Pipkins backs him up. Then they have Matt Feller, Corey Lindsey, as I mentioned earlier, who came to them via free agency from Green Bay. Brandon James, Storm Norton, right tackle. Their tight end is Gerald Everett, and then brought up another small school guy like Donald Parham backs him up, and then Trey McKitty, who they recently drafted, and then Hunter Campmoyer, who may or may not make the squad, but behind them. I wouldn't be shocked if somewhere in the middle rounds they also took another tight end. And if they get Lucas Crowell, say the 5th or the 6th, and pair him with the guys they already have, who I think eventually Donald Parham and Crowell may eventually be their number one, number two in the future. That's a dangerous, athletic, really, really difficult to cover a couple of guys. And of course, Justin Herbert And, the clipboard guru, Chase Daniel, backs up Herbert. So it's a bit of a drop off, obviously. And then Easton Stick is the third QB. They have a very good running back situation. Austin Eckler, of course, is an excellent starter. Sometimes injury concerns, but he's a terrific player. Joshua Kelly, not much of a drop off there. Obviously lost Justin Jackson, who I really liked, but Kelly's more than able. And then Larry Roundtree, who is another guy I liked coming out of Missouri, is third string. The defense is fairly stacked. Joey Bosa, Austin Johnson, Sebastian Joseph Day, who came to them, obviously, from the Rams. Jerry Tillery. Then, of course, their big ticket acquisition, Khalil Mack, Kenneth Murray, Drew Tranquill, and then J.C. Jackson, once again, another signee. They bring back Nasir Adderley, and, of course, Derwin James, a very good safety tandem, and then Asante Samuel Jr., who is, well, obviously the son of Asante Samuel, but is a terrific young corner who is, the arrow's very much pointing up on him. Their depth is not amazing. Chris Rumpf, who I liked coming out of Duke, Christian Covington, who, I liked him coming out of Rice. Brendan Fajoku is another solid interior presence. Graziano got to see him in person some when he was at Northwestern. Then they have Mickey Abile, Amen Abananinga, Troy Reeder, Trayvon Campbell, Mark Webb, also Eloy Gilman, and Keenan Hall. I like Keenan Hall, actually. He's a player I really liked coming out of North Texas, where he was part of a very good tandem they had there at the time. They could definitely use additional depth on defense. They could use another pass rusher to put into that rotation. I wouldn't be surprised if they targeted a guy like Nick Benito. I wouldn't be surprised if they targeted a guy like D'Angelo Malone somewhere in the middle rounds, because they might need to spend a top of the first round guy on defense, but they need to spend some time on this defense. And then if they got a guy like Damari Mathis in the middle rounds to toss into that secondary rotation, he can play nickel, he can play corner, maybe even free safety. And another guy I would keep my eye on if I were them is Jacoby Durant, once again in the middle rounds from South Carolina State. This is a team that really is set up to win a lot of games this year. If I were, the classic, as people say, I shouldn't say gun to my head. I'll just say, mortgage payment hanging over my head. I don't know, pick something. To say what would this team be, what can they be, I do think this is a team that wins at least 10 games. I'm not quite ready to put them above either the Raiders or the Chiefs yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're tied for second.